Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. The decision to pursue an MBA involves significant financial and personal considerations. I am not a financial advisor or a career counselor. You should always conduct your own thorough research and consult with qualified professionals before making any decisions about your education or career path. You're staring at your screen. On one side, there's the application portal for a top 10 full-time MBA program. You can almost smell the old leather in the library. See the ivy on the brick walls. It's the dream. The 2-year life-changing immersion. The cost? A staggering $180,000. And that's just tuition. On the other side of your screen is the portal for a top-ranked online MBA from an equally prestigious university. It promises the same degree, the same world-class faculty, but from your home office. The price tag is lower, but still a hefty $120,000. This isn't just a choice between two schools. This is a 6-figure gamble on your future. It's a decision that feels completely overwhelming, and one that will define the next decade of your career, your finances, and your life. You're terrified of making the wrong call. And that's exactly why you're here. Because in the next few minutes, we are going to demystify this decision completely. We're cutting through the glossy marketing brochures and the biased university sales pitches. This is your definitive, no-nonsense guide to choosing between an online and an in-person MBA in the United States. We're going to break down the 5 critical factors that truly matter. First, the brutal, honest truth about the total cost. Second, the power and perception of brand prestige. Third, the reality of networking in both formats. Fourth, the life-altering impact of flexibility. And finally, the ultimate bottom line: career outcomes and your return on investment. By the end of this video, you will not have a generic answer. You will have a crystal-clear framework to determine which path is unequivocally the right one for you, for your career, your family, and your bank account. So let's dive straight into the single biggest factor that keeps most people up at night: the money. This is the elephant in the room, and we're going to look it straight in the eye. Let's start with the traditional in-person MBA. You see the sticker price for a top program like Wharton, Stanford, or Harvard, and it's somewhere between $80,000 and $90,000 per year. So, for 2 years, you're looking at about $160,000 to $180,000 in tuition and fees. That's the price of a house in many parts of America. It's a breathtaking number. But here's the critical truth that most applicants fail to calculate. That number is a lie. It's not the real cost. Not even close. The true cost of a full-time, in-person MBA is a combination of 3 things, and the tuition is the smallest part. The first and most devastating hidden cost is the opportunity cost. To attend a full-time program, you have to quit your job. Let's say you're a professional earning a solid, but not spectacular $90,000 a year. Over 2 years, that's $180,000 in lost salary. Gone. That doesn't even account for the bonuses you might have received, the 401k match you gave up, or the promotion you might have earned in those 24 months. So, right off the bat, we've taken our $180,000 tuition and added another $180,000 in lost income. We are already at $360,000. But we're not done. The second hidden cost is living expenses. These elite programs are almost exclusively located in some of the most expensive cities in the United States. Think Boston, New York City, Chicago, or the Bay Area. You have to move there. Your rent for a modest 1-bedroom apartment could easily be $3,000 a month. Over 24 months, that's $72,000. Add in utilities, groceries, transportation, and health insurance, and you can realistically budget another $80,000 to $100,000 just to live for 2 years. So now, our running total is pushing $440,000. And there's one more layer: the soft costs. These are the expenses required to actually get the full MBA experience. There are international networking trips that can cost $5,000. There are industry conferences, club fees, formal events, and the unspoken pressure to go out for drinks and dinners with your classmates to build those all-important connections. You'll need a new wardrobe of business suits for interviews. This can easily add another $10,000 to $20,000 to your bill over the 2 years. So let's do the final terrifying math. $180,000 in tuition, $180,000 in lost salary, $100,000 in living expenses. And let's be conservative and say $10,000 in miscellaneous costs. The true cost of that 2-year, in-person MBA isn't the number on the university website. It's a staggering $470,000. It's a $500,000 investment. That is the real number you need to have in your head. Now let that number sink in as we pivot to the Online MBA. The sticker prices for top-tier online programs, like those from Carnegie Mellon, University of North Carolina, or Indiana University, can range from $60,000 to $140,000 total. So, on the surface, the tuition is often cheaper but not always dramatically so. A top online MBA is still a very expensive degree, but the calculation for its true cost is a completely different universe. Why? Because the biggest expense of the in-person MBA, the opportunity cost, is completely eliminated. You don't quit your job. You keep your salary. You keep your health insurance. You keep contributing to your retirement. That $180,000 in lost income stays in your pocket. In fact, you might even get a raise or a promotion while you're studying, which means your income actually goes up. This single factor fundamentally changes the entire financial equation. The second hidden cost of the in-person MBA, the exorbitant living expenses in a new city, is also gone. You don't have to move. You don't have to pay $3,000 a month for rent in Boston. You study from your current home in your current city with your current cost of living. That saves you another $100,000. The soft costs are also drastically reduced. There might be a few optional in-person immersion weekends, but the constant day-to-day social spending pressure just isn't there. So, the true cost of that $120,000 online MBA is, well, it's pretty close to $120,000. You're comparing a $120,000 investment to a $470,000 investment for, in many cases, a degree from the very same university. The financial difference isn't just a gap, it's a chasm. For many people, this is the end of the discussion. The return on investment for an online MBA, from a purely mathematical standpoint, can be exponentially higher because the initial investment is so much lower. Now, to be fair and balanced, there is one major caveat to this cost comparison: scholarships. Full-time, in-person programs at top schools have massive endowments, and they compete fiercely for the best candidates. If you are a truly exceptional applicant, we're talking a 760 GMAT score, a stellar work history, a compelling personal story. You could be offered significant financial aid. A $50,000 scholarship, or even a full tuition fellowship, can dramatically change the math for an in-person program. These life-changing scholarships are far more common in full-time programs than they are for online or part-time options. So if you're a rockstar candidate, you absolutely have to factor in the potential for a massive scholarship that could slash the in-person cost. But for the average, strong applicant who will likely be paying close to sticker price, the financial verdict is overwhelmingly clear. The online MBA presents a much lower, much more manageable financial hurdle. But this begs the billion-dollar question: what are you actually buying for that extra $300,000? Is it just ivy-covered walls and a 2-year break from work? Or does that massive price tag purchase something intangible, something priceless that an online degree simply cannot replicate? I'm talking about prestige, the power of a brand, the instant credibility that comes from saying you went to Harvard or Stanford. Is that name recognition worth the price of a house? That is exactly what we are breaking down next. Let's talk about a simple universal concept: luxury goods. Why does someone pay $10,000 for a Rolex when a $50 Timex tells the exact same time? It's not about telling time. It's about what the watch says about the person wearing it. It's a signal. It communicates success, taste, and belonging to a certain club. An MBA from a top-tier in-person program is the Rolex of education. And an online MBA, even from a great school, is often perceived as the incredibly functional, high-quality, but ultimately less flashy Grand Seiko. Both are fantastic, but they send different signals. The pinnacle of this signaling is the M7, the Magnificent Seven: Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, Kellogg, Booth, Columbia, and MIT Sloan. These aren't just schools. They are global brands, institutions whose names have been synonymous with power and influence for over a century. Their prestige is a self-perpetuating machine. They have astronomical endowments, attract Nobel laureate professors, and most importantly, they have a velvet rope at the front door. Harvard Business School's acceptance rate is around 10%. Stanford's is closer to 6%. This brutal exclusivity isn't a bug. It's a feature. The difficulty of getting in is a core part of the product. When you're accepted, the school is essentially telling the entire world, we vetted this person. Out of thousands of the world's brightest and most ambitious people, we chose them. That anointment, that stamp of approval, is what you're paying for before you even attend a single class. This stamp is a key that unlocks a very specific door: on-campus recruiting. The world's most sought-after employers, the McKinseys, the Goldman Sachs, the Googles, don't just accept applications from these schools. They actively hunt for talent there. They have multi-million-dollar recruiting pipelines built specifically around these M7 and top 15 campuses. They send partners and senior executives to host wine and cheese nights, information sessions, and coffee chats. They build relationships. If your dream is to break into one of these hyper-competitive industries, being on that campus isn't just an advantage, it's practically a prerequisite. You're not just a resume in a digital pile of thousands. You're a face, a name, a handshake. You are a known quantity from a trusted source. That physical proximity, the ability to look a recruiter in the eye, is an advantage that is incredibly difficult to replicate from behind a laptop. Now let's look at the online world. For years, online degree carried a heavy stigma. It brought to mind late-night infomercials and questionable for-profit colleges. But that world is dead. Today, the landscape has been completely transformed by elite universities entering the ring. The University of Michigan's Ross School of Business, Carnegie Mellon's Tepper, USC's Marshall, UNC's Keenan Flagler. These are powerhouse brands offering online MBA programs, or OMBS. And this creates the central question of our prestige debate. Does the brand of the university transfer fully to its online degree? The answer is a frustrating but honest, it depends. Let's get tactical. The actual piece of paper you get, the diploma, is often identical. The University of Michigan is not going to hand you a diploma that says, Master of Business Administration, online version, in fine print. It will say Master of Business Administration, period. On your resume under Education, you can write MBA, University of Michigan Ross School of Business. That will get you past the initial HR screen. It will check the box. But the moment you sit down for an interview and they ask, so, tell me about your experience at Ross, the difference becomes clear. The in-person candidate will talk about leading their team to victory in the national case competition, the relationships they built during the global immersion trip to Argentina, or the startup idea they hashed out with classmates in a library at 2 a.m. Your story will be about balancing classes with your full-time job and connecting with your team over Zoom. It's a different story. It's not a worse story. In fact, it shows incredible discipline and time management, but it is a fundamentally different experience, and it builds a different kind of reputation. The prestige of the in-person program is built on shared, intense, physical experience. The online program's prestige is built on the academic rigor and the brand association. They are not the same. So, how do you decide which one you need? You have to ask yourself one question. Who am I trying to impress, and for what purpose? This isn't about ego, it's about strategy. Let's break it down into 3 archetypes. First, there's the career switcher. Let's say you're a 29-year-old in marketing, and you have a burning desire to become an investment banker at a bulge bracket firm in New York City. For you, prestige is not a luxury. It is the entire ballgame. You need to break into a deeply insular traditional industry. The only way to do that is to use the sledgehammer of an M7 or top 15 in-person MBA. You need the on-campus recruiting. You need the dedicated finance clubs that have a direct line to Wall Street. You need the alumni network that is geographically concentrated in Manhattan. For the career switcher aiming for the most elite fields, the prestige gap between an in-person and online MBA isn't a gap, it's a canyon. The in-person program is the only viable bridge across. Second, we have the Career Accelerator. This is a 36-year-old senior engineer at a Fortune 500 company, let's say a major defense contractor. She's great at her job, well-respected, but she's hitting a ceiling. To get to the director or VP level, she needs business acumen. She needs to understand finance, strategy, and operations. She doesn't want to quit her high-paying job, uproot her family, and move across the country. For her, an online MBA from a school like Carnegie Mellon or the University of Southern California is a perfect weapon. The name on the degree provides instant credibility within her own organization. Her CEO isn't going to ask if she attended classes in person. They're going to see MBA from a top 25 school and recognize that she has the drive and the knowledge to lead. She's not trying to break into a new industry. She's trying to level up in the one she's already in. For the Career Accelerator, the OMBA delivers the precise dose of prestige and skills needed, with minimal disruption and maximum ROI. Finally, let's consider the entrepreneur. This is someone with a great idea, maybe a prototype, and a dream of building their own company. Does the prestige of a Harvard or Stanford MBA help? Absolutely. The network you gain there can provide your first round of funding, your first key hires, and invaluable mentorship. It's a massive advantage. However, it comes at the cost of 2 years of lost income and over $200,000 in debt, right at the moment when you need to be lean and scrappy. The alternative? An online MBA from a highly respected but more affordable state school, like the University of Florida or Indiana University. These programs can give you the nuts and bolts skills: how to read a balance sheet, how to create a marketing plan, how to manage a supply chain for a fraction of the cost. For an entrepreneur, what matters more than the school's brand is the business's brand. Investors are far more impressed by a product with traction and a founder who is scrappy and capital efficient than they are by a diploma on the wall. The OMBA provides the essential toolkit without the crushing, dream-killing debt. So prestige isn't a simple yes or no proposition. It's a tool. An in-person MBA from an elite school is a prestige sledgehammer. It can smash down the thickest walls into the most exclusive industries. An online MBA from a great school is a prestige scalpel. It's a precise instrument used for targeted career advancement within a known environment. The question isn't which is better. The question is which tool is right for the job I need to do. We've established that the power of a brand name is very real, but its value is entirely dependent on your personal career goals. But what about the other, almost mythical promise of business school? The single biggest reason people justify the astronomical cost? The one thing that supposedly pays dividends for the rest of your life? I'm talking about the network. And the difference between building a network through a screen versus forging it over late-night case studies and celebratory beers. Well, that difference and the lifelong value it creates might be the most important factor of all. Let's start right there. Because the difference between those two scenarios isn't just a detail. It's the fundamental philosophical divide between these two MBA paths. One is about engineered efficiency. The other is about engineered serendipity. Think about the in-person, full-time MBA experience. It's a 2-year, fully immersive social experiment. You take a group of hyper-ambitious, intelligent, and diverse individuals, you remove them from their normal lives, and you place them into a high-pressure incubator. The learning that happens in the classroom is only half the story. The other half happens in the in-between moments. The 1 a.m. debate over a valuation model in a library study room, fueled by stale coffee and a shared sense of desperation. The impromptu conversation with a professor you happen to see at the campus gym. The lunch where a classmate from a totally different industry, say a former military officer, casually drops a piece of leadership advice that completely reframes how you see a problem. This is the magic of proximity. It's a serendipity engine. You can't schedule these moments. You can't force them into a Zoom breakout room. They arise organically from shared space, shared struggle, and shared time. These experiences forge bonds that are qualitatively different from a digital connection. When you've seen someone at their most stressed, when you've relied on them to pull their weight on a team project that's worth 40% of your grade, you build a level of trust and understanding that transcends a LinkedIn profile. You're not just connecting with their resume, you're connecting with their character, their work ethic, their sense of humor under pressure. This is how you find a future co-founder. This is how you find the person who, 5 years down the line, will call you out of the blue with a job opportunity that isn't even public yet because they know you. They've been in the trenches with you. This network becomes deeply ingrained and often geographically concentrated. Your classmates from a school in Chicago, Boston, or the Bay Area are highly likely to stay and work in that ecosystem. This creates an incredibly powerful local network for you post-graduation. It's a ready-made support system and professional web in the city where you're most likely to build your career. Now let's pivot to the Online MBA. The architects of these programs are brilliant, and they know that networking is their perceived Achilles heel. So, they throw an immense amount of resources at solving it. They create dedicated Slack channels for every class, for every club, for every geographic region. They organize virtual happy hours, online speaker series with prominent alumni, and sophisticated platforms for scheduling one-on-one virtual coffee chats. They use breakout rooms relentlessly to try and simulate small group interaction. And for many, this is fine. It's functional. You can absolutely meet people. You can build a list of contacts. The network you build is often far more geographically diverse than an in-person program. You might have classmates from Seattle, Miami, London, and Singapore all in one project group. This provides an incredible breadth of perspective. If your career is global in nature, this can be a massive advantage. But here's the rub. It's networking on hard mode. It requires constant, deliberate, proactive effort. Serendipity is replaced by scheduling. You have to be the one to send that Slack message, to suggest that virtual coffee, to follow up after the breakout room closes. The in-between moments are gone. When the Zoom lecture ends, it ends. There's no walking out of the classroom together, continuing the conversation on the way to the next class. The interactions can feel more transactional because they are, by their very nature, scheduled transactions of time. Let's make this real. Imagine two students, Sarah and Mark. Sarah is in a full-time in-person program at a top school. Her marketing team is completely stuck on a case study for a new product launch. The pressure is on. It's 11 p.m., the room smells like pizza, and everyone is frustrated. Then David, a teammate who spent 6 years in supply chain logistics before his MBA, looks at the distribution plan and says, "Wait a minute. You're thinking about this like a marketer. You're ignoring the warehouse bottleneck. The whole launch will fail on day one." The team argues, they whiteboard, and at 2 a.m. they have a breakthrough that not only saves their presentation but becomes the core insight that gets them an A. 4 years later, Sarah is launching her own direct-to-consumer startup. She's facing a massive logistics nightmare. Who is the first person she calls? David. She doesn't just send him a LinkedIn message. She calls his cell. Because they survived that case study together. That shared struggle is the bedrock of their professional trust. Now consider Mark. He's in a top-tier online MBA program. He's assigned to a virtual breakout room to discuss the exact same marketing case. He's grouped with Jessica, a brilliant strategist from a consulting firm. They have a fantastic, efficient 25-minute conversation. They use a shared Google Doc to outline their key points, they agree on a framework, and they present their findings flawlessly when the breakout room timer runs out. They connect on LinkedIn afterward. Mark thinks, "Wow, Jessica is really sharp." 3 years later, Mark is facing a complex strategic problem at his company. Does he feel comfortable calling Jessica for an hour of her time? Maybe. He might send a polite LinkedIn message. But the foundation is different. Their interaction was a task. It was productive, but it wasn't a shared trial. The bond is thinner, the ask is bigger. This isn't to say online networking is worthless. Far from it. The crucial factor is you. Your personality and your career goals are the great arbiters here. If you are a natural introvert, the highly structured, opt-in nature of online networking might actually be a godsend. It can be less intimidating than the constant, sometimes overwhelming social pressure of a full-time program. You can be more deliberate, prepare your talking points for a virtual chat, and engage on your own terms. Furthermore, if you are an established mid-career professional, say a 35-year-old director of finance who already has a deep network in your industry and city, the in-person networking bonanza might be overkill. You're not looking to build a network from scratch. You're looking to upskill, get the credential, and add a few high-quality contacts outside your immediate circle. The Online MBA's good enough network, supplemented by your existing one, is a perfectly rational choice. But if you are a career switcher, this changes everything. If you're an engineer trying to break into brand management, or a teacher trying to get into finance, your existing network is of limited value. You need to build a new one from the ground up. You need to immerse yourself in the culture, the language, and the people of your target industry. The total immersion of an in-person program, the constant exposure to classmates and alumni in your desired field, is an accelerant that an online program simply cannot replicate. The same goes for aspiring entrepreneurs. Finding a co-founder is like getting married. You need that deep, trust-based, in-the-trenches experience to know if someone is the right partner. That's a discovery best made over late-night work sessions, not scheduled Zoom calls. Online programs are trying to bridge this gap with in-person immersions or residency weekends, short, intense bursts where the entire cohort flies to campus or another city for a few days of classes and networking events. These are fantastic opportunities and a huge value add. But think of it this way. An in-person MBA is like living with your cohort for 2 years. An online MBA with immersions is like going on 3 or 4 amazing weekend trips with them. You can still build great relationships on those trips, but it's a concentrated dose, not a sustained lived experience. So the networking question isn't just about online versus in-person. It's about depth versus breadth. It's about serendipity versus structure. It's about building a deep, resilient, and localized tribe versus a broad, diverse, and global database. And the right choice depends entirely on the network you already have, and the network you desperately need to build. But a network, no matter how powerful, is only one part of the equation. The other is the knowledge you actually gain. And the way you learn, the very structure of your day-to-day education, is radically different. One is an immersive baptism by fire. The other is a masterful juggling act. And understanding that difference is key to knowing which one will actually make you smarter. Let's start with the in-person MBA. Picture this. It's 8:15 a.m. on a Tuesday. You're in a tiered U-shaped classroom, often called the pit. The air is thick with the smell of coffee and ambition. You're sitting next to a former private equity associate on your left and a military veteran who led platoons in Afghanistan on your right. In front of you is a professor who not only wrote the book on corporate finance, they literally wrote the textbook everyone else uses. And they know your name. Suddenly, the professor's eyes scan the room and land on you. "Tell me," she says, her voice echoing slightly in the silent hall. "The discounted cash flow model for this company seems to predict a 20% upside. But what fundamental assumption in the case have you identified that could render this entire model completely worthless?" Your heart starts hammering against your ribs. This is the infamous cold call. It's not a quiz. It's a trial by fire. You have 90 seconds to articulate a coherent, defensible position in front of 80 of the smartest, most competitive people you've ever met. In that moment, you are not just learning finance. You are learning to think under pressure. You're learning to structure an argument in real time, to project confidence even when you're terrified, and to defend your logic against razor-sharp critiques from your peers. This is the essence of the in-person learning experience. It is a full-contact, immersive simulation of high-stakes business leadership. The learning doesn't stop when the class ends. In fact, that's often when it truly begins. You'll spill out into the hallway, still debating the professor's point. That debate will continue over lunch, and then later that evening, it will evolve into a frantic whiteboard session in a tiny, glass-walled study room as your 5-person learning team tears apart the next day's case study. You learn through a kind of intellectual osmosis. You absorb frameworks and mental models just by being in the environment. You'll overhear a conversation about supply chain logistics in China while grabbing a coffee, and it will spark an idea for your marketing project. You'll run into a second-year student who just finished an internship at Google, and they'll spend 20 minutes explaining how the company actually approaches product roadmaps, completely blowing up the theory you learned in class. This is the magic of the campus. Structured serendipity. The program is engineered to force you into collisions with diverse ideas and people. Your learning team might have a poet, a chemical engineer, and a banker. You would never choose to work with these people in a million years, but the program forces you to, and in doing so, it forces you to see a problem from angles you were blind to. The in-person MBA is a 2-year-long, high-intensity crucible designed to break down your old ways of thinking and rebuild you into a more dynamic, resilient, and well-rounded leader. It assumes that the most profound learning happens not in quiet isolation, but in the chaotic, unpredictable, and deeply human friction of constant interaction. Now let's teleport out of that crucible and into a completely different universe. It's 10:30 p.m. on that same Tuesday. You're not in a lecture hall, you're at your kitchen table. The house is quiet. Your kids are asleep, your day job is done, and you've just logged into your online MBA portal. There's no intimidating professor staring you down. There's no hum of 80 other people. There is just you, the material, and your full attention. You pull up the week's lecture on negotiation strategy. The professor, a world-renowned expert from a top-tier school, is explaining the concept of BATNA, the best alternative to a negotiated agreement. You listen intently. He gives an example, but you don't quite get how it applies to your industry software sales. So you do something that's impossible in a live lecture hall. You hit pause. You rewind the last 2 minutes. You listen again, this time taking detailed notes. You open another browser tab and look up real-world examples of BATNA being used in tech contract negotiations. The concept clicks. It's not just an abstract theory anymore. It's a tool. The next morning, you have a call with a major potential client. They're pushing hard on price, trying to back you into a corner. But you're calm. The professor's voice is in your head. You've already mapped out your BATNA. You know your walkaway point and, more importantly, you know the strong alternative you have if this deal falls through. You hold your ground, reframe the conversation around value instead of price, and by the end of the call, you've secured the deal on your terms. You just got a real-time, tangible return on your tuition from a lesson you learned less than 12 hours ago. This is the superpower of the Online MBA. Immediate application. It's not a simulation of the business world. It's a direct interface with it. The program is designed for the working professional who doesn't have time to step away from the game. It's a live-fire exercise where you learn a new weapon in the evening and deploy it on the battlefield the very next morning. And what about classroom discussion? In the online world, it's not about the fastest talker. It's about the clearest thinker. The discussion board is the great equalizer. That intimidating person who always dominated the in-person class? Their charisma is neutralized online. All that matters is the quality of your written argument. You are forced to build a case, cite your sources, and structure your thoughts with immense precision. It's a different skill set, but one that is arguably more critical in an era of remote work, where so much of your influence is determined by how well you can communicate through text, be it in an email, a Slack channel, or a formal proposal. Furthermore, your online classroom isn't filled with people who all moved to the same city. Your project group could have a brand manager for Procter & Gamble in Cincinnati, a logistics expert for Maersk in Copenhagen, and a software engineer for a startup in Silicon Valley. When you discuss a global strategy case, you're not just theorizing. You're getting on-the-ground, real-time intelligence from people living and breathing that reality. The diversity is not just in their past experiences, but in their current, active professional lives. So we have two fundamentally different philosophies of learning. The in-person MBA is a process of transformation through total immersion. It removes you from your world and puts you in an intense, curated bubble designed to forge you into something new. The Online MBA is a process of enhancement through direct integration. It keeps you in your world and gives you new tools and frameworks you can apply immediately, allowing you to level up in real time. One is a monastery, the other is an armory. One is about becoming, the other is about doing. One bets that the deepest learning comes from focused Socratic debate and spontaneous human connection. The other bets that the most effective learning comes from disciplined, self-paced study and immediate, real-world application. Neither is inherently better, but one is almost certainly better for you. The question you have to ask yourself is not just, how do I like to learn? It's under which conditions do I truly grow? Do you need the fire of the crucible, or the focused precision of the command center? Answering that question is half the battle. But your education is more than just lectures and case studies. For many, the single most valuable asset they take from an MBA isn't a credential or a piece of knowledge, but a network. And the way these two paths build your professional network couldn't be more different. It's not just a matter of online versus offline. It's a fundamental difference in what a network is, how it's built, and what you can ultimately do with it. Let's frame this with an analogy. Building your network in an in-person MBA is like constructing a skyscraper. The foundation is deep, poured into a single specific location, the campus. You build upwards floor by floor with a core group of people. The structure is incredibly strong, dense, and dominates the local skyline. Everyone involved knows every beam, every rivet, every late-night pour of concrete because they were there together building it. Building your network in an online MBA is like weaving a global communication satellite network. It's decentralized. Your connection points are spread across continents. The power isn't in its physical density, but in its incredible reach and the sheer volume of data it can transmit. You might not share a physical foundation with the person running the satellite hub in Tokyo, but you can connect with them instantly, share critical information, and collaborate on a global scale. Two different architectures, two different purposes. Neither is inherently better, but one is absolutely better for you. Let's start with the skyscraper, the full-time in-person MBA. Its networking power is built on two secret ingredients you simply cannot replicate online: forced proximity and structured serendipity. You are physically immersed with a cohort of a few hundred other hyper-ambitious, intelligent people for 2 straight years. You see them every single day. You see them at their best, acing a presentation, and at their worst, stressing over a finance midterm at 2 a.m. in the library. This isn't just about scheduled networking events with wine and cheese. That's amateur hour. The real network is built in the spaces between the classes. It's the 5-minute chat while grabbing coffee where you discover a classmate used to work at your dream company. It's the impromptu study group that turns into a 3-hour debate about a case study, revealing who the real leaders are under pressure. It's the intramural flag football game, the ski trip, the weekly cohort bar night. These are low-stakes, informal environments where trust is forged. You're not just connecting on a professional level. You're building genuine friendships. You learn people's character, not just their resume. You learn who is reliable, who is creative, who is a grinder, and who has your back. When you're looking for a co-founder 5 years down the line, are you going to trust the person whose LinkedIn profile looks good? Or the person you pulled an all-nighter with to salvage a group project? That's the core of the in-person value proposition. It's a 2-year high-pressure trust-building exercise. Furthermore, This density creates a powerful local ecosystem. If you go to a top school in Chicago, you're not just networking with your classmates, you're plugged directly into the entire Chicago business scene. Professors are often active consultants or board members at local firms. Alumni chapters are incredibly active. Recruiters are physically on campus, not just hosting a webinar. You become part of the city's fabric. If your goal is to break into a specific geographically concentrated industry like finance in New York, tech in the Bay Area, or the auto industry in Michigan, the immersive power of a local in-person program is an almost insurmountable advantage. It's a full-contact sport. Now let's pivot to the satellite network, the Online MBA. Many people mistakenly believe that online networking is just a watered-down, inferior version of the real thing. This is a fundamental misunderstanding. It operates on a completely different principle: intentionality over serendipity. In an online program, you don't just bump into people. Every single interaction is deliberate. This forces you to become a much more skilled and proactive networker. You can't rely on chance encounters. You have to be the one to send the message, to schedule the virtual coffee chat, to organize a study group over Zoom. This might sound like more work, and it is, but it's also an incredible skill. Learning to build rapport and trust with people you've never met in person is the defining skill of modern global business. The Online MBA is a training ground for this. The biggest superpower of the online network, however, is its staggering diversity. Your cohort isn't limited to people who can afford to quit their jobs and move to one city for 2 years. Instead, your classroom is a cross-section of the global economy. In a single breakout room, you might have a marketing manager from Procter & Gamble in Cincinnati, a software engineer from Google in Mountain View, a U.S. military officer stationed in Germany, and a supply chain expert from Toyota in Japan. Think about the richness of that perspective. When you're discussing a global strategy case study, you're not just theorizing. You're getting real-time, on-the-ground insights from people living and working in those markets. This network is geographically and professionally vast. If you need an introduction to someone in the burgeoning fintech scene in Singapore, chances are there's someone in your program, or a recent alum, who is a direct flight away. The breadth is simply unmatched. It's a network built for a world where your next big project might be with a team distributed across 3 different time zones. The relationships also form differently. It's less of a 2-year sprint and more of a slow burn. You get to know your classmates over months of collaboration on projects, through thoughtful discussions on forums, and in specialized Slack channels for your industry or interests. It's a different kind of intimacy, one based on the quality of your ideas and the consistency of your contributions. Recognizing the power of face-to-face contact, many of the best online programs have created a hybrid solution: the in-person residency. These are typically week-long, intensive sessions held once or twice a year. The entire online cohort flies to campus or a major global city. These residencies act as powerful network accelerators. You spend a year building relationships through a screen, getting to know people's minds, and then you finally meet in person. It's electric. All those digital connections are suddenly solidified with a handshake, a shared meal, a real-life conversation. It takes the best of the online model, the flexibility and diversity, and injects it with a potent dose of in-person bonding. It's a brilliant way to bridge the gap. So, which one is right for you? It comes down to your career goals with surgical precision. The in-person skyscraper network is for the career switcher. If you're an engineer trying to break into investment banking, or a teacher aiming for a brand management role at a CPG company, you need that total immersion. You need the deep, trust-based relationships and the powerful on-campus recruiting machine to help you pivot. It's also for the aspiring entrepreneur who needs to find a co-founder and build a local support network of mentors and early-stage investors. You're buying density, trust, and a localized, powerful brand. The online satellite network is for the career accelerator. If you're already in an industry you like and want to move up to senior leadership, the Online MBA is perfect. You can apply what you learn on Tuesday in class to your job on Wednesday. Your network is immediately relevant, filled with peers across the globe in similar roles who are facing the same challenges. It's for the professional who works for a multinational corporation and needs to understand how business is done in Shanghai and Sao Paulo, not just in their home city. You're buying breadth, diversity, and global access, all without having to sacrifice your current career momentum. It's depth versus breadth, local density versus global reach, serendipity versus intentionality. One builds a foundation to launch a new career. The other builds a framework to accelerate an existing one. But a network, whether it's a deep well or a wide ocean, is only as good as your ability to navigate it. And that's where the Career Services Office comes in. The support system designed to turn those connections into a corner office is a whole other battlefield, with completely different weapons for online and on-campus students. Let's start with the in-person MBA. Imagine the Career Services Office not as an office, but as a high-tech command center. For 9 months of the year, this command center orchestrates a full-scale invasion of campus by the world's most powerful companies. This is on-campus recruiting, or OCR, and it is the single most powerful weapon in the traditional MBA's arsenal. It's a machine finely tuned over decades, designed to place students into high-paying, high-prestige jobs with brutal efficiency. Picture this. It's a Tuesday in October at a top 15 business school. In one lecture hall, McKinsey & Company is hosting an information session, complete with catered lunches, putting their sharpest, most charismatic partners on stage. Down the hall, Goldman Sachs is doing the same for investment banking. In a smaller breakout room, a brand manager from Procter & Gamble is holding a more intimate Q&A. These companies aren't just posting a job online and hoping for the best. They have spent millions of dollars to be here on this campus competing for you. You are not a job applicant, you are the prize. The process is a meticulously choreographed dance. First, the corporate presentations. Then come the coffee chats. This is where an on-campus student, let's call her Sarah, can sign up for a 15-minute slot to talk one-on-one with an alumni from her target company. It's an informal interview, a vibe check. It's where a name on a resume becomes a person, a potential colleague. Sarah might have 3 of these chats before lunch. She's building relationships, gathering intel, and making her case in a low-stakes environment. She's not a cold email in an inbox. She's the person they just shared a coffee with. Then, the interviews themselves are streamlined. The first round often happens right there on campus, in small rooms reserved by the Career Services Office. No need to take a day off work or fly across the country. Your commute to the interview is a 5-minute walk from the library. If you pass, the second and final rounds are typically at the corporate headquarters, where the company wines and dines you. The entire process is a well-lit, paved superhighway. The school gives you the map, the car, and the gas. All you have to do is drive. Beyond this structured machine, there's the power of sheer, unadulterated physical presence. The serendipity. Sarah could be grabbing a sandwich and literally bump into a visiting executive from a venture capital firm. A powerful conversation can happen in a hallway. A professor, impressed by her contribution in class, might pull her aside and say, "You know, I'm on the board at a company that's looking for someone exactly like you. Let me make a call." This is the magic of proximity. It's the unplanned, unscripted advantage that can change a career trajectory in an instant. It's a system designed to pull you up. Now let's pivot to the Online MBA. The Career Services Office is still there, but it's not a command center. It's an armory. It provides you with incredible weapons, but you are a lone operative. You have to plan the mission, gear up, and execute it yourself. There is no invasion of companies coming to you. You have to go to them. Let's consider David, our online MBA student at an equally prestigious university. He has access to the very same alumni network as Sarah. He can see the same job postings on the school's internal portal, but the highway isn't paved for him. He has to build it himself, one brick at a time. On-campus recruiting is largely a closed door for him. While some schools are getting better at virtual access, the reality is that the core of OCR, the info sessions, the coffee chats, the on-campus interviews, is built around physical presence. It's a club and he's on the outside. So what does he do? He hustles. He becomes a master of the digital domain. While Sarah is having a casual coffee chat, David is sending out 10 meticulously crafted LinkedIn messages. He's A/B testing his email subject lines to alumni. He's not just asking for a chat. He's proving his value from the very first sentence. He has to cut through the digital noise that Sarah gets to bypass. When he does land a 20-minute Zoom call with an alum, he knows there's no room for error. He has to be twice as prepared, twice as memorable, because he doesn't have the benefit of a shared physical space to build rapport. The career support he gets is different too. It's asynchronous. He'll watch recorded webinars on salary negotiation. He'll submit his resume to a digital Dropbox and get feedback via email 48 hours later. He can schedule a virtual mock interview with a career coach, which is incredibly valuable, but it lacks the nuance of sitting across from someone, shaking their hand, and reading their body language in a real room. The support is reactive, not proactive. He has to pull resources from the armory. No one is actively pushing them into his hands. But this model has its own, unique and powerful advantages. David, living in Austin, Texas, but enrolled in the University of Michigan's Online MBA, has a killer combination. He can now approach companies in Austin's booming tech scene with the brand power of a top 10 business school. He becomes a big fish in a local pond. He can network with the local Michigan alumni chapter, becoming a known entity. For companies in Austin that don't have the budget to fly to Ann Arbor to recruit, David is a golden opportunity. A top-tier candidate who is already a local. He can leverage a national brand for a local advantage in a way Sarah, tied to her campus, cannot. This is the trade-off. The in-person MBA offers access, especially to hyper-competitive, structured recruiting industries like investment banking and top-tier management consulting. These fields have a long history of recruiting from a very specific set of schools, in person, and that tradition is hard to break. Trying to crack into a bulge bracket bank from an online program is an uphill battle fought in a blizzard. It's not impossible, but you're starting with a significant disadvantage. The Online MBA, on the other hand, is for the career pivoter or accelerator who is more of a self-starter. It's for the person in tech who wants to move into product management, or the engineer who wants to transition into a leadership role within their current company or industry. For these paths, the specific lockstep process of OCR is less important than the knowledge, the network, and the brand, all of which the Online MBA provides. Employer perception is the final piece of this puzzle. 10 years ago, an Online MBA might have been dismissed out of hand by a hiring manager at a Fortune 500 company. That stigma is rapidly evaporating. The pandemic showed the world that high-level work could be done remotely, and the quality of top Online MBA programs has skyrocketed. Employers are beginning to recognize that Online MBA graduates often possess a unique set of skills: fierce self-discipline, incredible time management, and a native fluency in digital collaboration. They are proven self-starters. However, a subtle bias can still exist. For some old-school hiring managers, the MBA is not just a degree. It's a shared trial by fire. They value the experience of being on campus, the late-night study groups, the intense in-person competitions. They believe those experiences forge a certain type of leader, and they're more comfortable hiring someone who walked the same path. So the career services battlefield is drawn along this fundamental line: structure versus autonomy. The in-person MBA is a guided, high-support, high-access system that excels at placing students into traditional, high-demand MBA roles. The Online MBA is a high-flexibility, high-autonomy system that provides the tools for a self-motivated student to forge their own path, often with a unique geographic or industry advantage. One is a guided missile. The other is a build-it-yourself drone kit with state-of-the-art parts. Both can hit the target, but they require a completely different type of pilot. But all the career support in the world doesn't matter if the education itself doesn't deliver. When you close the door, log into your portal, or walk into a lecture hall, what actually happens? The classroom experience, the curriculum, and the very way you learn are fundamentally different, and that difference can make or break your entire MBA journey. Let's start with the in-person MBA, the one you see in the movies. Imagine walking into a tiered, U-shaped classroom, a pit, as they call it at places like Harvard or Darden. The air is electric. You're not there to passively receive information. You're there to defend a position. The dominant teaching style in most top programs is the case method. You're not reading a chapter on marketing. You're given a 20-page document about Nike's struggle to enter the European soccer market in the 90s. You have all the data they had, all the internal memos, all the market research. And the professor, a titan of industry who actually consulted on that project, looks out at 90 ambitious, sleep-deprived overachievers and asks, "All right, you're the VP of marketing. Your budget is $50 million. Your career is on the line. What do? Go." And then silence, until one hand goes up, then another. And soon it's not a lecture, it's a high-stakes debate. The student who spent 10 years in investment banking argues for a massive celebrity endorsement deal. The student who ran a nonprofit in Africa counters, arguing for a grassroots, community-focused approach. The professor doesn't give you the answer. They poke holes. They challenge assumptions. Why do you think that? What data supports it? What if your main competitor does the exact opposite? This Socratic, high-pressure environment forges your thinking and fire. You learn to think on your feet, to articulate complex ideas concisely, and to defend your arguments against people who are just as smart, if not smarter, than you are. But the learning isn't just in that formal debate. It's in the subtle shift in body language when someone makes a point that resonates. It's the quick, knowing glance you share with a classmate across the room when the professor makes a particularly brutal counter-argument. It's the conversation that continues spilling out into the hallway, into the cafeteria, into a late-night study group where you're all scribbling on a whiteboard at 1 a.m., fueled by coffee and a shared sense of purpose. This is the magic of physical presence, serendipity. You can't schedule the moment you bump into a visiting CEO in the lobby and have a 2-minute conversation that changes your perspective on an industry. You can't plan for the spontaneous decision to grab a beer with your accounting study group, where you find out one of them has a cousin who works at the exact venture capital firm you've been dreaming of. The in-person MBA is an immersive, all-consuming experience. For 2 years, your entire world shrinks to that campus. It forces a level of focus and camaraderie that is incredibly difficult to replicate. You're not just learning business, you're living it, breathing it 24/7, surrounded by a cohort that becomes your family, your rivals, and your future network all at once. Now let's pivot to the online classroom. And I need you to erase the image of a grainy pre-recorded 2010-era lecture. The top online MBA programs today are technological marvels. The experience is split into 2 main components: asynchronous and synchronous. Asynchronous is the ultimate in flexibility. This is the material you consume on your own time. Maybe it's a pre-recorded lecture from a Nobel Prize-winning economist, but it's produced like a Netflix documentary, with slick graphics and embedded interactive quizzes. It's reading a digital case study, and then contributing to a threaded discussion forum that runs 24/7. And don't mistake discussion forum for a simple comment section. These are highly moderated, deeply intellectual conversations. Your grade depends on the quality of your contributions. You can't just say, "I agree." You have to build on someone else's point, introduce new evidence, or offer a contrarian view backed by data. For the introvert, the deep thinker, or the non-native English speaker, this can be a massive advantage. You have time to thoughtfully compose your argument, to edit it, to make it perfect before you post. The person who shouts the loudest doesn't win. The person with the most well-reasoned argument does. You can rewind that complex finance lecture on valuing derivatives 3 times at 11 p.m. until you truly master it, something you could never do in a live lecture hall. Then comes the synchronous part, the live online class. You log into a virtual classroom that looks more like a broadcast studio. You see your professor and your classmates in a high-definition gallery view. But it's the interactivity that's key. The professor will launch a real-time poll. How many of you would approve this capital expenditure? Yes or no? Instantly the results pop up. You're then automatically sorted into a virtual breakout room with 4 other students from around the world. You have 10 minutes to debate the decision in a small group and prepare your rationale on a shared digital whiteboard. The professor can drop into your breakout room, listen to your discussion, and challenge you, just as they would walk from table to table in a physical classroom. This isn't a passive experience. It's an intensely engaging, technology-driven simulation of a real-world, remote team meeting, a skill that has become mission-critical in today's global economy. Now, what about the actual stuff you learn, the curriculum? At the core, it's largely the same. A discounted cash flow analysis is the same formula whether you learn it in Ann Arbor, Michigan, or from your home office in Austin, Texas. The core courses in finance, marketing, operations, and strategy will cover the same foundational theories. But it's at the edges, in the electives and experiential learning, where the paths diverge dramatically. The in-person MBA is a buffet of opportunities. Because the entire student body and faculty are physically present, a large school can offer an incredible breadth of niche electives: real estate, private equity, the business of entertainment, advanced negotiation strategy. These are taught by practitioners and world-renowned experts. More importantly, the in-person experience is defined by learning outside the classroom. We're talking about global immersion programs where you and 40 classmates spend 2 weeks in Shanghai analyzing supply chain logistics for a tech company. We're talking about student-run investment funds managing millions of dollars of the university's endowment. We're talking about case competitions where you fly to Hong Kong to compete against teams from London and Singapore. These are transformative, resume-building experiences that are almost impossible to replicate virtually. You are learning by doing, in the real world, but with the safety net of the university underneath you. The Online MBA, on the other hand, offers a different kind of curricular advantage: immediate application and focused specialization. Many online programs are designed around specific, in-demand tracks like healthcare management, business analytics, or fintech. You're not getting the broad buffet. You're getting a deep, specialized education tailored to a specific career outcome. But its true superpower is what I call the living laboratory. Imagine this. On Tuesday night in your online operations class, you learn about a new framework for process optimization called Lean Six Sigma. On Wednesday morning, you walk into your job as a project manager at a manufacturing plant. You look at a production line that's been a bottleneck for months, and you see it through a new lens. You start applying the principles you just learned. You run a small experiment. You collect the data. You see a 5% improvement by Friday. That weekend, you write about your real-world experience in the class discussion forum. Your classmate, a nurse manager in California, chimes in about how she applied a similar principle to patient intake, and a software engineer from Seattle shares a tool he built to automate part of the process. Your job is no longer a distraction from your studies. Your job is the case study. This immediate feedback loop between theory and practice is incredibly powerful, accelerating not just your learning, but your actual career progression in real time. So, you have two fundamentally different educational philosophies. The in-person MBA is an immersive, serendipitous, and broad experience designed for total transformation. The online MBA is a flexible, applied, and focused experience designed for immediate impact and career acceleration. One takes you out of the world to change how you see it. The other embeds you deeper in your world to change how you operate within it. The classroom is one thing, the curriculum another. But let's be honest, for many, the real reason you're shelling out six figures is for the network, the connections, the access that supposedly unlocks every door. But does that powerful network even exist in a digital-only world? And is the in-person network really as life-changing as the brochures claim? That's where the real return on investment lies, and that's exactly what we're breaking down next. Let's cut right to the chase. The MBA network is the legendary beast everyone talks about. It's the secret society, the golden Rolodex, the thing that supposedly justifies a six-figure price tag. For decades, the sales pitch was simple. Come to our campus, and you'll walk away with a list of contacts that can get you into any room, anywhere in the world. This was built on a foundation of physical presence. It was forged in the crucible of late-night study sessions fueled by cold pizza, in the heated debates of a case study competition, and in the shared laughter at a post-finals pub night. The value wasn't just in the classroom. It was in the hallways, the coffee shops, the serendipitous run-in with a visiting CEO by the library. This is the promise of the in-person network. A deep, visceral connection built on shared experience and proximity. You don't just know that Sarah from your marketing class is smart. You saw her dissect a failing company's strategy at 2 a.m. and pull a brilliant turnaround plan out of thin air. You don't just have a LinkedIn connection with a guy who's now a VP at a top private equity firm. You have the memory of helping him move into his apartment first year. These aren't just contacts, they're bonds. And in the world of business, bonds, not just contacts, are what move mountains. This is the undisputed, heavyweight champion of the in-person MBA argument. It's powerful, it's proven, and it's real. But here's the reality check they don't put in the brochure. This network isn't handed to you on a silver platter with your diploma. It's not an automatic download to your brain. It is an asset you have to build, brick by painstaking brick. For every student who leverages this environment to build a life-changing network, there's another who spends 2 years with their head down, treats it like a 9-to-5 job, and leaves with little more than a handful of acquaintances. The potential is astronomical, but the activation energy required is immense. You have to be the one to organize the study group. You have to run for a leadership position in a student club. You have to put yourself out there again and again at social events, treks, and alumni mixers. The campus is just the arena, you still have to fight the battles. The serendipity is real, but you have to be walking the halls for it to strike. So the question for an in-person candidate isn't just, is the network valuable? It's, am I the kind of person who will actively and relentlessly build that network for 24 straight months? Now let's flip the script and enter the digital world. The biggest fear, the most common criticism of the online MBA is that this entire ecosystem of connection simply evaporates. The fear is that you're trading that vibrant, collaborative arena for a lonely existence in front of a laptop. That your cohort isn't a cohort at all, but a list of names on a discussion board. For the early first-generation online programs, that criticism was fair. It was a glorified correspondence course. But to think that's what a top-tier online MBA is like today is like thinking a smartphone is only for making phone calls. The game has completely changed. Top online programs are no longer just delivering content. They are engineering communities. They have become masters of what I call Structured spontaneity. They know you can't bump into your classmate at a coffee shop, so they create virtual coffee chats with randomized pairings. They use sophisticated platforms like Slack not just for announcements, but to foster channels for everything from industry-specific discussions to shared hobbies like gaming, parenting, or marathon training. Group projects aren't just emails and a shared Google Doc. They are intense, collaborative sprints on platforms like Miro and Trello, with live video sessions that force you to engage, debate, and create together under pressure. And here's the crucial difference. The online network is, by its very nature, more deliberate. You can't rely on chance. Every connection you make is one you sought out. You have to be the one to send the direct message, to schedule the Zoom call, to say, "Hey, I saw your post about supply chain logistics in the forum. I'm facing a similar challenge at my company. Do you have 15 minutes to chat next week?" This requires a different muscle. For a natural extrovert who thrives on working a room, this might feel restrictive. But for an introvert, or for someone who prefers deep, one-on-one conversations over loud group settings, this can be a superpower. The noise is stripped away. It's all signal. But the biggest secret weapon of the Online MBA network isn't the technology. It's the people. Think about who an in-person, full-time program self-selects for. It's typically people in their late 20s, able and willing to quit their jobs, uproot their lives, and move to a new city for 2 years. That's a specific and somewhat narrow demographic. Now, think about the Online MBA. Your classmate isn't just the person who could afford to move to Boston or Chicago. Your classmate is a 42-year-old director of operations at a manufacturing plant in Ohio who is logging on after putting her kids to bed. He's a 35-year-old active-duty military officer stationed in Japan, managing a multi-million-dollar logistics budget. She's a 29-year-old software engineer at a FAANG company in Seattle who can't afford to step off the promotion ladder for 2 years. The professional and geographic diversity is staggering. You're not just building a network in one city. You're building a global, distributed network of established, mid-career professionals from day one. Your study group could have someone dialing in from London, Houston, and Seoul. You gain immediate access to a breadth of industries and real-time perspectives that is incredibly difficult to replicate in a single physical classroom. You're not just learning about international business from a textbook. You're working on a project with someone who is living it. So how do we compare them? Think of it this way. The in-person network is like building a dense, powerful local network. The connections are deep, the bandwidth is high, and the relationships are forged through intense, shared experience. It's a tribe. The online network is like building a global, distributed satellite network. The reach is immense, the diversity is unparalleled, and the connections are built on deliberate, focused intention. It's a web. Which is better? That's the wrong question. The right question is, which network architecture is better for you and your specific career goals? If you plan to work in a specific city, say in finance in New York or tech in the Bay Area, the deep, localized network from a school in that region can be an unbeatable advantage. The alumni chapter is strong, the local recruiting is fierce, and your classmates become your colleagues and competitors in the same ecosystem. But if your career is in a global industry, or you want the flexibility to work from anywhere, or you value having a contact at a major company in virtually every state in multiple countries, the broad, distributed nature of a top online programs network can be a far greater asset. And this brings us to the great equalizer, the final boss of the networking discussion, the Alumni Association. This is the point that opponents of online MBAs conveniently ignore. When you graduate from a top-tier online MBA, like the one from UNC, Michigan, or Carnegie Mellon, you don't get a special online diploma. You don't get relegated to a separate, online-only alumni club. You are a full-fledged alumnus of the university. Period. You get the same email address. You get access to the same global alumni directory, with its hundreds of thousands of members. You can attend events at the same alumni chapters in London, Singapore, and New York. The brand and the institution-level network are identical. An online degree from a premier university grants you the master key to the very same kingdom that in-person graduates get. You are tapping into a legacy and a network that has been built over decades, sometimes centuries. Your personal cohort, the people you spent 2 years with, is your inner circle. But the entire alumni network is your global safety net. And for many, having that institutional stamp and that global access is the most critical piece of the networking puzzle. And on that front, the top online and in-person programs deliver the exact same thing. The method of delivery is different, but the ultimate destination, the keys to that powerful global family, is the same. So the value isn't just in the people you meet during the program, but in the millions you can meet after. The real test of the network isn't who will help you with a homework problem. It's who will take your call 5 years after graduation when you're looking to make a career pivot. Both paths can get you there, but they take you on fundamentally different journeys. One is a high-intensity, immersive deep dive. The other is a broad, intentional, global expedition. The choice depends on the kind of explorer you are. But once you have that network, how do you actually use it to land the job? Because a great network that doesn't lead to a better career is just an expensive social club. How do career services, recruiting, and the all-important job search actually differ between these two worlds? That's where the rubber truly meets the road. Let's start with the in-person MBA, because for decades, this was the undisputed champion of career transformation. The system is a well-oiled, high-stakes, multi-million-dollar machine, and it's designed with one purpose in mind: to place you into a new, high-paying job. Think of it less as a career service and more as a career conveyor belt. From the moment you step on campus, you are swept into a current of corporate information sessions, networking nights, coffee chats, and industry-specific workshops. The world's most sought-after companies, the McKinseys, the Goldmans, the Googles, don't just post a job and hope you apply. They come to you. They spend enormous amounts of money to fly their top people to your campus, to wine and dine you, to convince you that their firm is the place you should spend the next chapter of your life. This process is deeply structured and incredibly intense. Student clubs like the Consulting Club or the Investment Banking Club act as miniature boot camps. Your second-year peers who just survived the process themselves will drill you relentlessly on case interviews, financial modeling, and behavioral questions until you can do them in your sleep. They will tear apart your resume and rebuild it. They will conduct mock interviews that are often more grueling than the real thing. Why? Because the school's reputation, and by extension the value of their own degree, is tied to your success. Everyone is invested in getting you across the finish line. The centerpiece of this entire machine is the summer internship. It's a 10 to 12-week, high-stakes audition. If you do well, you walk into your second year with a six-figure job offer already in hand. This entire ecosystem is specifically, almost magically, engineered for the dramatic career pivot. Are you an Army captain who wants to go into brand management at Nike? Are you a teacher who wants to become a strategy consultant? The traditional on-campus recruiting process is your golden ticket. It essentially launders your professional identity. Companies recruiting on campus have already bought into the school's brand. They trust that the admissions committee has found smart, gritty, high-potential individuals. They don't care as much that you were an engineer for the last 5 years. They care that you got into Booth or Wharton or Kellogg, and that you can survive their brutal interview process. That shared experience, that trial by fire, creates an immediate bond and a proven pathway. Now let's shift to the Online MBA. And this is where the metaphor changes completely. If the in-person MBA is a conveyor belt, the Online MBA's career service is a state-of-the-art toolbox. The tools inside are fantastic. You get access to the same world-class career coaches. You get resume reviews, mock interview software, and negotiation workshops. You get access to the very same alumni database and the same corporate job boards. The tools are often identical in quality, but here's the critical difference. There is no machine. There is no conveyor belt. You have to open the toolbox yourself, pick the right tools, and build your own career path. The onus is entirely on you. The proactivity required is on a completely different level. There are no casual networking nights where you can bump into a recruiter from Deloitte. You can't grab a coffee with a second-year student who just interned at your dream company. Instead, you have to be the one to scour LinkedIn to find that alum, to craft the perfect cold email, to schedule a 15-minute Zoom call, and to build that relationship from scratch, one digital interaction at a time. The school gives you the key to the alumni directory, but you have to find the right door, knock on it, and hope someone answers. This fundamental difference in structure leads to a critical distinction in who these programs serve best. The in-person MBA is the undisputed king for the career switcher. Let's invent a person. Meet Switching Sarah. Sarah has a degree in art history and has spent 6 years working at a museum. She's brilliant, but she's decided she wants to be a product manager at a major tech company like Adobe. For Sarah, making that jump on her own is nearly impossible. Recruiters will look at her resume and see museum, not product. But if Sarah goes to a top full-time MBA program like Berkeley Haas or Michigan Ross, her identity changes. She spends her summer interning at a tech startup. She becomes the president of the tech club, and she spends 2 years immersed in the language and network of Silicon Valley. When Adobe's recruiters come to campus, they don't see an art history major. They see a Haas MBA candidate. The program provides the bridge for her to cross a career chasm that was otherwise impassable. Now let's look at the Online MBA, which is perfect for the career accelerator. Meet Accelerating Alex. Alex is a senior software engineer at Salesforce. He loves his company and he's great at his job, but he wants to move into management and eventually a director-level role. He doesn't need to switch careers, he needs to augment his skills. For Alex, quitting his high-paying job, giving up his stock options, and moving to another city for 2 years would be career suicide. Instead, he enrolls in a top online MBA program, like the one at Carnegie Mellon's Tepper School of Business. He keeps his job at Salesforce. On Monday, he learns about financial valuation in his accounting class. On Tuesday, he's in a meeting with his company's finance department, and he can suddenly understand and contribute to the conversation on a whole new level. He's applying his education in real time, demonstrating immediate value to his superiors. He's not looking for an on-campus recruiting machine to get him a new job. He's using the MBA as rocket fuel for the career he already has. For Alex, the Online MBA isn't a bridge to a new world. It's the express lane in the one he's already in. Now the lines are starting to blur. The best online programs are working furiously to close this career services gap. They're creating virtual career treks, hosting online recruiting events, and building dedicated teams to help online students connect with employers. And some industries, particularly the tech sector, are becoming more agnostic about the delivery format. They care more about your skills than whether you learned them in a physical classroom. But, and this is a huge but, for the most traditional prestige-obsessed MBA career paths like management consulting at McKinsey, Bain, or BCG, and bulge bracket investment banking at firms like Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley, the in-person model is still king. It's not even a fair fight. These firms have a recruiting model that was built around the full-time on-campus experience. They recruit entire classes of summer interns from a very select list of target schools. They want to see you in person. They want to see how you interact at a dinner. And frankly, they value the signal of a full-time MBA. The fact that you quit your job and bet everything on this career change signals a level of commitment that a part-time student, no matter how brilliant, simply cannot demonstrate in the same way. If your dream is to walk the halls of one of those specific firms, a full-time in-person program gives you a dramatically, almost unquantifiably higher chance of success. This brings us to the data. Full-time MBA programs are legally required to publish detailed, audited employment reports. You can see with crystal clarity what percentage of graduates got jobs within 3 months, what their median salary and signing bonus were, and a full list of the companies that hired them. This transparency is a cornerstone of their value proposition. For online MBAs, the data is much murkier. Because many students are accelerating Alex's, they aren't seeking a new job, so a placement rate is a meaningless statistic. The real metric is their promotion rate or their salary increase at their current company, which is far more difficult to track and report. When you're evaluating an online program, you have to become a journalist. You must ask the admissions committee tough questions. What percentage of your students who were actively seeking a new job found one? What was their average salary increase post-MBA? Can you provide a list of companies that have hired your online graduates in the last 2 years? If they can't or won't provide that data, that's a major red flag. So the choice boils down to this. Are you switching, Sarah? Trying to execute a dramatic pivot into a highly structured industry? If so, the powerful, immersive on-campus recruiting machine is likely your best bet. Or are you accelerating Alex? Looking to climb higher and faster in your current company or industry? If so, the flexibility and immediate applicability of a top-tier online MBA might be the smarter, more efficient path. It's not about which is better. It's about which machine is built for your destination. So we've dissected the academics, the network, and the job hunt. But what about the bottom line? The cold, hard numbers? In our final part, we're going to put it all together, calculate the true return on investment, and give you the ultimate framework to make the single biggest decision of your professional life. Alright, let's break down the ROI, the return on investment. Because at the end of the day, an MBA isn't just an education. It's one of the biggest financial products you will ever buy. First, let's calculate the true cost of an in-person, full-time MBA from a top 20 US program. The sticker price for tuition and fees is staggering, easily hitting $160,000 to $200,000 for 2 years. But that's not the real number. The real number, the one that should make you sit up straight, is what we call the opportunity cost. Let's imagine a typical candidate. a 28-year-old consultant named Sarah, earning $100,000 a year. By quitting her job for 2 years, she isn't just paying $200,000 in tuition. She is also forfeiting $200,000 in salary. Suddenly, this isn't a $200,000 decision. It's a $400,000 decision. And that's before we even factor in living expenses in an expensive city like Boston or Chicago, which can add another $50,000 to $80,000 over 2 years. The total investment for Sarah to attend a full-time, in-person MBA program is realistically pushing $500,000. It is an astronomical, life-altering sum of money. Now let's look at the return. The data is clear. For the right candidate, the return is massive. The average post-MBA salary for graduates of top 20 programs often soars to $175,000 or more, plus a hefty signing bonus. For Sarah, going from a $100K salary to $175K is a $75,000 per year increase. If we do the simple math, she'll pay back that $500,000 investment in about 6 to 7 years. After that, every single year for the rest of her career, she is earning a premium that she would not have had otherwise. Over a 30-year career, that premium could easily be worth over $2 million. This is the high-risk, high-reward bet. You go all in, you take on the debt, you sacrifice 2 years of your life, and in exchange you get a shot at a fundamentally different financial and professional trajectory. Now let's run the numbers for a top-tier online MBA. The tuition can be surprisingly similar to in-person programs at some schools, but many excellent programs range from $80,000 to $140,000. Let's call it $120,000 for our example. Living expenses? Zero change. You're living where you already live. But here is the game changer, the single biggest financial advantage of the online MBA. The opportunity cost is virtually zero. Our consultant Sarah doesn't quit her job. She keeps earning her $100,000 salary while she studies. So her total investment is just the tuition. $120,000. That is a staggering $380,000 less than the in-person option. It completely changes the financial equation. But what about the return? This is where it gets nuanced. The immediate, post-graduation salary bump for online MBA graduates is typically not as dramatic as their full-time counterparts. Why? Because most online students are not career switchers. They are career accelerators. They aren't using the MBA to pivot from marketing to investment banking. They're using it to get promoted from senior manager to director within their current company or industry. So Sarah's salary might not jump from $100K to $175K overnight. Instead, it might jump to $120K upon graduation, and then unlock the promotions to $140K and $160K 2 or 3 years faster than she would have otherwise. The payback period on her $120,000 investment is still excellent, maybe 4 to 5 years. The ultimate lifetime earnings increase is still significant, but the path is more gradual. It's a lower risk, more stable, and financially less terrifying path to career growth. So how do you choose? How do you decide between the $500,000 rocket ship and the $120,000 high-speed train? This is where we move beyond the numbers and into the ultimate decision-making framework. I want you to grab a pen and paper, or open a new note on your phone, and honestly answer these 5 questions. This will give you your answer. Question 1. Are you a career switcher or a career accelerator? Be brutally honest. Is your goal to completely change your industry, your job function, or both? Are you an engineer who wants to work in venture capital? A teacher who wants to go into brand management? If the answer is yes, you are a career switcher. You need the full immersive reset. You need the on-campus recruiting, the structured internships, and the deep transformative network that can open doors in fields where you have no experience. The in-person MBA is built from the ground up for you. However, if you love your industry and maybe even your company, but you feel like you've hit a ceiling, or you need new skills and a credential to move into leadership, you are a career accelerator. You don't need to burn everything down and start over. You need to augment what you already have. The Online MBA allows you to apply what you learn on Tuesday in class to your job on Wednesday, demonstrating immediate value and positioning you for internal promotion. For the accelerator, the Online MBA is the more logical, efficient tool. Question 2. What is your financial and life risk tolerance? This is the gut check question. Can you realistically take on hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and have zero income for 2 years? Do you have a mortgage? Do you have kids? Does your partner have a career that is tied to your current location? If the thought of that much debt and uncertainty makes you break out in a cold sweat, or if your life circumstances simply make it impossible, then the in-person MBA is a massive, potentially irresponsible gamble. The online MBA offers a path to the same goal with a fraction of the financial risk. It allows you to maintain stability in your life while still investing in your future. But if you're younger, have fewer financial commitments, and have the stomach for a big, calculated bet on yourself, the higher financial risk of the in-person MBA might be justified by its potentially higher reward. Question 3. What is your accountability engine? How do you truly learn and operate? Do you thrive on external structure and social pressure? Do you need the energy of a classroom, the fear of being cold called by a professor, and the camaraderie of a study group to stay motivated? That physical campus, that scheduled class time, that's an accountability engine. It forces you to show up and perform. If you know that about yourself, the in-person MBA provides the structure you need to succeed. Or, are you a master of self-discipline? Are you the kind of person who can block out 3 hours on a Tuesday night after a long day of work, close the door, and focus intensely on a statistics lecture? Can you build your own schedule, motivate yourself, and hold yourself to a high standard without a professor looking over your shoulder? If you have a powerful internal accountability engine, you have the key trait required to excel in a top online program. Question 4. Do you need a network of depth or a network of breadth? Both program types give you a network, but they are fundamentally different. The in-person MBA is about depth. You are going through a 2-year intense shared experience with a small cohort of people. You travel together, you struggle through exams together, you celebrate together. These people become your lifelong friends, your future business partners, your personal board of directors. It's a deep bonded network. The online MBA is about breadth. You are connecting with a much larger, more geographically and professionally diverse group of people. You might have classmates calling in from Seattle, Miami, and even London working at Amazon, the Mayo Clinic, and the federal government. You learn to collaborate and build relationships digitally, a critical skill in today's world. Your network is broader, more distributed, and less intense, but potentially just as powerful in a different way. Which one serves your career goal more effectively? And finally, question 5. What is the brand's job to be done? Why do you really want the brand name, the Harvard, the Wharton, the Kellogg on your resume? If you are a career switcher trying to break into a highly prestige-conscious field like management consulting or investment banking, the brand is not a luxury. It is a requirement. Those firms recruit almost exclusively from a handful of elite, in-person programs. The brand's job is to open a door that is currently welded shut. But if you're a career accelerator already working in a great company, the brand serves a different purpose. Its job is to validate your expertise, to give you the credibility to lead, and to signal to your current and future employers that you have the skills to operate at the next level. A top-tier online MBA from a school like Michigan Ross or UNC Keenan-Flagler carries immense weight and accomplishes that job perfectly, without forcing you to hit the reset button on your entire life. So there it is. The choice between an online and an in-person MBA is not about which one is better. They are different tools for different jobs. The in-person MBA is a sledgehammer. It is a powerful, expensive, high-impact tool you use to demolish your old career path and build a new one from the foundation up. It is a total transformation. The online MBA is a scalpel. It is a precise, efficient, and sophisticated tool you use to enhance and advance an already successful career, performing targeted surgery to remove obstacles and accelerate your growth. Go through those 5 questions. Write down your answers. The right path for you will become clear. This isn't just a choice about education. It's a choice about the architecture of your ambition, the strategy for your success, and the design of the life you want to lead. Now go design it.